Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nick from Mitigate Stress. In this Triggerpoint series video, we are going to be covering the upper abdominals, left and right. The tools that you will need for this will be either a kettlebell and using the horns of it, a softball, or preferably, my favorite, a larger softball, and a Theracane if you want. This works in a pinch, but I prefer the softball. So I'm going to show you how to use each one of these tools individually, and then I'm going to spend most of my time trigger pointing with you with my favorite tool, which is the larger softball. Got my handy dandy timer right here. We're going to start off with the kettlebell just real quick just so I can show you how to utilize it. And basically it's this simple. You pretty much just elevate yourself over the horns and you just gently sink in. It is actually pretty much the most intense tool to use for the upper abdominals out of all these, and it's kind of the most intense tool I've ever used, honestly, other than maybe a broomstick handle and then driving deep on that. But this is a very effective tool to hit the upper abdominals. The only thing is you do have to elevate yourself and support yourself upwards like this, which is fine if you don't mind doing that, but you simply just breathe into it, let your body sink into it. Do some small micro movements. Stay around that pain spot. Find that pain spot first. And just rinse and repeat for 3 to 5 minutes each side. Alright, now let's try the other tools. So if you're utilizing the Theracane, or this is actually the muscle hook from GoFit, you're going to want to use, obviously, the pointy part right here. And now the Theracane does have its advantages, and that is basically allowing you to hit different angles and access under the ribs, which is what we're trying to get towards anyways. And so you pretty much just do this. You find that spot, and you go under the ribs. If I'm using the Theracane, I like to take advantage of this tool and really use it for what it's designed to, and that is to dig under the ribs like this. And you're just relaxing, you're breathing, you're not tensing up, you're just breathing deep, you're pushing into the pain. And you pretty much just do that for 3 to 5 minutes plus on each side. Go as long as you need. Alright, so now let's hit with the softball and the larger softball. I'm going to use the large one because, again, it is my favorite. We're going to go for about 3 minutes, starting now. Find the upper abdominal region, again, right at the very top of the ribs, right under the xiphoid process. You don't want to be on bone. And I'm going to start on my left side for 3 minutes. I'm going to start my timer right now, actually. And it should be tender. You should be up as high as you can, again, not touching bone necessarily. And you're just allowing yourself to wrap around that ball. You're allowing yourself to relax and sink into the ball. Once you have established a nice pain, then you want to breathe into that pain. So sink into it first, wrap around it first, go deep, and then you want to start breathing into the trigger point. So as you continue to sink down. And then as you exhale extremely slowly, I'd say 10 seconds in, 10 seconds out, through the nose preferably. As you exhale, you just do some small micro movements, or just keep pushing in as deep as you possibly can tolerate, roughly a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 pain tolerance. You want to stick with this for roughly 3 to 5, upwards of 5 to 10 minutes each side until the pain subsides. And if you're still within the 3 to 5 minutes and the pain already subsided, either one, go deeper, or start exploring and scanning locally around that initial pain spot and trying to find maybe if there's a deeper, more intense trigger point within that location, or really close within that location. So again, that might just be a centimeter off, maybe an inch off. Now, I've worked with quite a few trainers, and one of my favorite trainers I worked with was Patrick Cochran. And he actually said that he believes most people's upper abs are anywhere from 1 to possibly even 2 inches stuck and folded underneath, or like rounded out, right? Stuck tissue. So really we kind of came to the conclusion that it might be the most important thing to trigger point not only the hamstrings, the upper hamstrings for sure, because they're very shortened, but most definitely the upper abs as well. Like if I had to pick two, it'd probably be those two, honestly, and that would make a world of difference for everything. So again, we're still in the trigger point. We've got about 40 seconds left. I'm sinking into it. The key is to go deep. Now the thing is, I want to show you, you can extend the arm as you lay into it, lay down, and breathe. And really try to pull that fascia up like a suitcase. Or like a bodysuit, my bad. Like a saran wrap suit is what I'm trying to get you to visualize. Like pull on that. Pull the slack out of the fascia. How do you do that? Raise the ribs up, raise the shoulder up, extend the arm, and expose that fascia and just go deep. Breathe into it, and that's time. Take a break if you need to. Go for 5 to 10 minutes, preferably. Other than that, let's go to the right side. All right, the right side is going to be tender. Might be more tender for you because that is where the liver is, and I believe the stomach might be more on that side as well. I could be wrong, but we're starting the timer right now. Again, same thing. I'm exploring, I'm scanning for that dull, achy, tender hot spot. I'm starting at the very top of the upper abs as much as I can. I'm allowing my body to wrap around the ball, to envelop it, and to sink into it. That's the key. Sink into it, relax, go deep. Dull, achy, tender, hot spot that should radiate pain outwards. It should be fairly uncomfortable, but you want to try to relax and stay calm and become comfortable with the pain, the discomfort. Again, I should have mentioned this earlier on the last one. Extend the arm, pull the slack out of the fascia like saran wrap. Oh my gosh. If you're not doing that, if you're not saying that, you're not really hitting it. Guys, it should be pretty darn intense. A 7 to 8 at least out of 10 pain, as much as you can tolerate without tensing up and taking away from the trigger point. And the key with trigger pointing is you don't want to be here all day. You want to become so efficient that you don't have to do it as much and you can get right into it and get that release that you need without having to spend 5 to 10 minutes every single time and spending an hour every day. That's not the goal. Initially, you do want to start with that. You do want to start hydrating the body, the fascia, and really working these kinks out and going as deep as you possibly can, because that is what we're trying to do, going as deep as we possibly can to the bone. That's what's going to make the change. The more superficial skin level you are, the less change that will happen. So we love guasa so much. We love scraping of the skin. We promote guasa so much. And gentle massages, that's great for lymphatic drainage, but it's not going to create postural changes and really override that software that has been dysfunctional, for lack of better terms, for however long we've been traumatized, reaching with one arm, studying, working, bent over, you know, just performing dysfunctional movement patterns, right? So again, in order to start making lasting change, you got to go deep to the bone. It takes time. But the more you do this, the more intense you start going, the better you'll be able to get into that trigger point fast and then go as hard as you need to and become familiar with your pain tolerance, again, how deep you can go. And then the faster you will release and hydrate that fascia on a deep cellular level. So again, what was the point of that rant? The more you do this, the less you'll have to do it. The better you'll become, the more efficient you'll become. You won't have to spend at least 10 to 15 minutes doing this anymore. It can be 3 to 5 max. 10 seconds. Again, extend that arm, sink into it. You can lay all the way down if you want. Small micro movements, tiny movements, and that's time. All right, everybody, so if you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend, especially if they have back pain, even neck pain. This will greatly help them with their discomfort, and it's more of a root cause approach. Obviously, we still need some corrective exercises to help establish more permanent change, but again, you cannot overlook the power of deep tissue therapy, trigger point release. If it's done correctly, if it's done intensely enough with enough time, again, the more you do it, the less you'll have to do it, the more proficient you become at it, and obviously trying to become your own trigger point specialist. That's our goal, is to teach you how to become one. But nonetheless, if you see someone who is constantly hunched over, it's going to affect that. It's also going to affect your neck, because that has to counterbalance. On top of that, one side could be more taut than the other, and that can create more scoliosis, more twisting, tilting. There's so many deformities that occur around this area. Plus, all your organs and your spine is located in your trunk. That being said, this is going to make such a systemic impact on your health. So, your liver, your gallbladder, your spleen, your intestines, all of that can be released, and a lot of stress can be taken off these organs and our body, again, as a whole on a systemic level if we hit this more often. We do believe that the upper abs are one of the most crucial areas to pay attention to and to hit more often than not. All right, again, please share this video with a friend. We will see you on the next. Peace.